bit each time we go out, and that's been our biggest goal so far, is to be a little bit better every day. If there's one thing I can say about this team, is they do continue to improve. So we'll see where we go to from here, but more than anything else, that game was one of our better games. Okay.
Just what do you think sort of spurred that performance? Was it just a case of preparation, or was it just motivation?
A little bit of both. I think as we get a little bit better understanding on how we are trying to do some things, you get a little bit better understanding. Then as you prepare, I think our guys now are getting into the daily routine of how we do things now, and the fact that everybody's at everything. Once upon a time, we'd have special teams meetings, and we'd have guys missing. We have different kinds of other parts of practice, and we had guys missing. We have goal line, short yardage drills, and we have guys missing. Well, we don't have that very much anymore, and the fact that all of our guys are getting a chance to work together on a daily basis, I think, is beginning to show its merits.
Is that one of the reasons why? And you look back at last year when Richard had that early interception. From there, things would go downhill. It seemed like from that point on, he sort of stepped up this play.
Well, I think that's part of why he gets better as the year goes on, for sure. As you get a little bit better feeling for things, as you get a little bit better understanding, you do see guys play better, and that's kind of what happened, I think, maybe last year also.
Looking back at that first half, it seemed like once you got control of the game, in particular, being able to spread out on the things out on the field, both on passing and also rushing. Do you think for the first time this team is finding that balance they've been seeking?
Well, that's what we're hunting, and we're getting closer to to being able to find it. This has been an experiment of sorts. We're a work in progress. We're trying to constantly find that balance. We're trying to be able to get our offense overall to carry at least half the load, maybe a little bit more than half the load. The better offensive football teams with really good defenses have more. Have more opportunities to really dominate people, and that's what we're about now. We're about trying to figure out how we can go out and play well in a way where our fans enjoy. Seeing us play without having to be, on the edge of the seat so much.
Defensively, just how much is it an advantage that you're able to get so much pressure up front without having to resort to blitzing, and how much has that made life easier for your cornerbacks?
I think it's been a big part of what's made our defensive, our scheme successful. We've had a lot of guys who, not necessarily just the first group guys, but we've had a lot of guys within our defensive front that have been able to create pressure, have been able to get upfield and be able to make life miserable, keep quarterbacks' lives being uncomfortable that way. So that makes it better for our linebackers when they're in pass coverage, and for our secondary, when they're trying to cover people, because you don't have to cover people nearly as long, knowing that those guys will be at the scene pretty quickly.
Is the bye time coming at the right time?
I think it is. We are really pretty healthy, though, as we go into the bye. But we got 2-3 guys that are banged up some. We got a couple pulls. Murphy's got a little pull. Devin Ware's got a little bit of a shoulder deal. We've had a couple other guys. C.J. Wilson, one of our backup offensive linemen, had a little bit of an ankle deal toward the end of the game. We got 2 or 3 other guys, with some little nicks and bruises. Dondre Brown didn't play. We were trying to make sure we got him back to full speed. But, by and large, the majority of this team is pretty healthy. And, I worry a little bit about this long layoff. I think we're going to be about 16 days between games. And that's a pretty good little ways. So we got to figure ways to make sure that we do a good job of keeping our team as sharp as we possibly can for the next, I guess, about 14 days now. Yeah.
Is 16 days enough to prepare for a team like the
Well, that might be another part, that you've hit upon. Yeah, I don't know if it is or not. It's good to have this chance, though, to see, how it works out. The times in the past that we've had a little bit longer periods to prepare hadn't really worked out so well for us. Last year, we had a break before we played A&T. Coastal. It was so late in the season by then that our ship was in a little bit different situation than it is now. But that is something that we need to make sure that we're on our P's and Q's about, because we can sometimes become stagnant over that period of time.
Just From what you've seen initially, what's the biggest concern when it comes to preparing for Bethune?
Bethune's so defensively they're just so aggressive. Their secondary is really really good. They've always had linebackers that really run and strike you. Their defensive ends really attack you and run the ball. I mean, really rush the passer very very well. They got three quarterbacks who are all equally athletic and talented. They seem to always understand what they're trying to get done. It's been amazing to me that they've been able to somehow or another have three guys in that position coexist, and they seem to all, have a way of getting in and giving a spark. I just don't know how he does it, but at the same time, they do seem to kind of keep that going. So, it's been a little bit different kind of experience, kind of trying to get a good grip on these guys.
Well, it's homecoming for them, but it's a place where you have won your last 3 times you visited there. Just which did that put the most pressure on?
Well, I think it's a good football game. That right now seems to be, a winner take all kind of situation for both of us. I don't know if it puts any more pressure on either one of us or the other. Both of us will be extremely excited about playing. Both of us will be, as prepared as we possibly know how. Both of us will be, pretty much understanding that if you don't get in, if you don't win here, there's a good chance you may not get in. So, you put all those things together. I think it's an equal amount of sense of urgency for both teams.
Waiting that it's homecoming, any concern about being able to get the same type of level of support that you've gotten down there in the years past?
Well, let's hope so. We need to be able to figure out how to get as many tickets as we can. But hostile environments, they don't really scare us that much. I'm hoping that it's loud and exciting and a lot of fun to play in. Anytime you play in a live atmosphere that way, I think it adds to the affair. So it'd be fun to go in there and see if we could quiet them down a little bit.
Is there a difference, I guess, this year? You talked about the team being relatively healthy. Is that just another tribute for Big John and what he's done?
I don't know if that is the case, but it just seems to kind of happen that way anytime John's here. We had him here 2-3 years ago, and we seem to always be healthy. He's back again now, and we seem to always be healthy. I don't know if that's the case or not, but there's something to it, I'm sure. And we need to be extremely appreciative of the fact that we do have him back.
Aside for getting ready for this game, I mean, a bye week like this, what do you try to do as a coach?
Well, I think we're going about the job of preparing for Bethune as if we played them on Saturday. I think we'll try to get as close to prepared as we can by the weekend, and then we come back and try to prepare again for them next week. It's one of those kind of deals where we don't want to leave any part of the possible work time available unused. So we're trying to take advantage of the whole deal.
Looking back at the results this weekend, just how surprised were you of the Hampton A&T result?
I was surprised, but after you look back on it, A&T had had so much success, so quickly here in the last year or so. They hadn't had much adversity. The first adversity they had was the loss to us this past weekend before last now, and I don't know if they handled that very well. Obviously, they came out of it on a downswing that they hadn't been able to quite recover from. I think they got in there and turned the football over. I think they probably had a situation where they got behind a bunch and then had to try to claw their way back into it. Couldn't quite make it. It happens. That surprised me, yes, for sure. But it happens.
Of course, this weekend, next coming weekend, how much are y'all wanting to try to get this whole deal with Tyler McDonald and his record out of the way so you can really be focused on what's
I don't think
company?
it'll be an issue, one way or the other. We've got half the season left to go yet. We've got 5 more games to go, and the fact that he's that close to that record is, a tribute to the fact that he's a real good player. But that ain't what we're about right now. You know, we're trying to win a football game. We're trying to win a conference championship. And, you know, all that other kind of stuff is kind of gravy, you know, on this piece of meat.
I mean, looking back on the result this past weekend with A&T and then what happened with Central, you look at the conference right now, there's only 3 teams with winning overall records. Is there concern if you happen to do lose next week, that because of strength of conference, it may have an effect on real chances?
Well, you know, that would be a concern. Yeah, for sure. You know, I wish I could say no, but it is. The one thing I can say though is that, you know, there seem to be a lot of leagues this year, you know, that are having issues that way. And if you look back on our out-of-conference competition, you know, when A&T, you know, beat an Elon that played Wofford Coast this week, you know, the Appalachian deal, you know, it doesn't quite have the same significance now because the Appalachian had quite the years had, but you know, the Bethune against the FIU, you know, there are parallels out there that you can draw. You know, there are comparisons out there you can draw that can still show that our league maybe is stronger, or at least stronger in comparison to what other leagues are, you know, this year. So, you know, I think we do warrant the second team if both teams should be in a 9-10 win range that way. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is, and you know, we'll have to see how that sorts out as the season goes on.